Losing in FIFA is not your fault. Let's talk about why that's a fact and not an opinion. I said what I said and I'm gonna stick by it. FIFA is not a good game, let alone one that's esport ready. It has the worst skill gap and it has a tiny one at that. Because of this, I've been seeing a lot more videos talking about the state of FIFA 22, some recently, some not so recently when it comes to Inception, Italian Stallion, how Nick Run the Foot Market reacts to these as well. And yet some people think it's the best game of all time because they can get these insane meta cards, which look, you absolutely can. Do I think it's great? We could talk about that in something in a separate video, but it's true. It's the easiest time to get all of these meta cards. This end of an era Gareth Bale, which is 98 overall, has the third most in-game stats with someone who has 70 defending. He costs less than 700k to complete. Objectively, he is the best attacker in the game. It's cool to have a fun team like this until you go into the game and find out they all move like trucks and they make runs as if they have an IQ of 4. I have countless clips and screenshots showing how bad this is, like, you know, having 2 goals scored on you with 0.2 xg and not scoring any yourself when you have 3.5 xg. Or someone having a 12% tackle percentage and you can't capitalize because the game refuses to actually punish the opposition. So when I say it's not your fault that you lose at FIFA, I genuinely mean that, because some of these are absolutely ridiculous, and we're going to showcase this in some of these clips here. And because I know how you devil's advocate people work, I'm going to tell you that I actually came back and won this game, and along with that, I'm going to showcase why devil's advocate in every single one of these clips is absolutely stupid and why you are absolutely stupid for doing that. Alright, first things first, we're trying to play out of the back here. Now we have a Butragueño wide open on the wing. Now this is perfect. We have Butragueño on the wing, the objectively best attacker and end of an era Bale coming in, and then my favorite player, Wout Weghorst, going in as well, who has a 97 positioning. In my mind, it makes sense what to do. Weghorst is 6'6" with 90 plus jumping. He's going to go to the back post so I can lob it up. Bale's going to go to the near post. Spread out, try to get open. Simple as that. But instead, what happens is they actually just run to the exact same spot. Why is that? Why do they run to the exact same spot? Does having the best attacker in the game mean anything? Does having 97 positioning mean anything? And like I said, we'll play devil's advocate in every clip. I can already hear them saying, oh, just use L1 to just put him to the near post. Just manually make the run. First of all, attacking AI should be better in general because we all know it's not good in this game, and it should be defending that should be harder, so then you actually have to work on that and not just park the bus. Second of all, their 97 positioning, I think they would know better to not bunch up and run to the same spot. Third of all, we have another clip from this game that shows why just doing L1 and making manual runs doesn't always work. This is literally something I would expect from bronzes, not the literal best attackers in the game. It's something that I do not understand. Attacking AI has been bad since quite literally FIFA 17. Alright, we got clip number 2 now. I bring Bernardo Silva's team of the season short, and typically what I like to do is go to the edge of the box, top of the box. So as you can see on the minimap, there's this guy that I usually pass to, and then I can pass it to whoever's on the opposite side of him as well. Now you can see from my controller that I'm not aiming in the best spot. It's probably going to go to the guy on the edge of the box, Carlos Alberto, which is fine. If I'm not aiming correctly and goes to the wrong player, that's on me. Clearly, I'm okay with that. That's not the issue. I have a good amount of power. I'm doing a driven pass. What the hell? What is that? Can we run that back real quick? I wouldn't expect that from a 0 Chem 45 rated bronze goalie, if I'm being completely honest. If it misses him slightly one way or the other, I could live with that a little bit, but that, he just tops the ball. It doesn't even get there. Here we go again with devil's advocate. Oh, it's realistic and not every pass is gonna be perfect. Sometimes it just happens. It happens in real life. Here's something that's gonna blow your guys' mind. Too much realism is a bad thing. This is a competitive game. It's an esport, and you're telling me you want to add realism like this into the game? How about in Call of Duty, there's a small chance that your gun jams when you use it, right? Hey, it's realistic, right? It's supposed to be realistic. That's a good thing, right? Too much realism is not a good thing, and this is one of those points that shows it's not a good thing. You want more realism in the game? How about your players just randomly take bribes sometimes so they're not performing as good as they should be, right? Maybe Bernardo Silva just took a bribe there. It's realistic, right? It's realistic. Good. It's good. It's good. Next up, we have a lovely little encounter here. Now, it's not the fact that Bale misses it. All right, it's a low percentage shot. I'm frustrated with the game at this point, and it's only tied when I should be winning. Fair enough. I can live with this. It's this right here where I see Wout Weghorst and Gareth Bale. Clearly I want to cross it in because they both have good jumping and Wout is 6'6". Instead what happens is that Wout Weghorst decides not to be in the box, gets run over, and then trips over Insigne at the edge of the box. That's just wonderful. First of all, why is Wout Weghorst getting out of the box? He's 6'6" on get in behind, on stay forward. He's a striker and he's 6'6" with 90 plus jumping. Why is he not in the box constantly? Secondly, why is Insigne running in the box? He's 5'4", 2 jumping. He's never going to win the header. And if if he stays outside the box, he'll be primed to get any type of rebound. Instead, Wout Weghorst decides to get tripped up by someone and then get run over by Insigne as well, which leaves this wide open ball for Dybala, which then he's able to counter from. I'm not saying Wout or Insigne would get this ball, I'm just saying it would be a lot easier to defend if none of them were on the goddamn ground. But no, random mechanics and terrible attacking AI results in him getting this completely free run and going on the counter attack. Now, it's crazy to think, but he actually counters for this for our next clip, right? So I'm coming back. We have a 5v2 here. However, that's still going to be a 5v4. We have numbers. We should be all right defending. I'm tracking back with Pereira to be able to defend here. Pereira to be able to defend here. There we go. And we bring it close. What the hell? Why, Saliba? Why? How is it that EA can make defensive AI completely overpowered with blocks and yet the stupidest and completely underpowered when it comes to positioning? Carlos Alberto is not marking the attacker here, which is just wonderful. He goes in. Now, I know he's going to shoot it. I have to make that gamble, right? If he doesn't shoot it, he takes a touch and goes to the far post. Fair enough. I can live with that. Instead, my gamble pays off and I go to block the shot. Oh, but wait, he gets the rebound and scores anyway. Look, here's the thing. It's not the fact that we concede that annoys us. It's the way we concede. It's how we get to that ball in the back of the net that annoys us. When I block this perfectly and yet it just falls back to Cruyff for absolutely no reason, what motivation does that give me to actually defend? Now, for Devil's Advocate, I already ripped their realism argument from one of the previous clips and how too much realism is a bad thing, so we can ignore that one. Let's talk about the other argument. You should have just defended better. Do you not remember I had the numerical advantage here? We had more defenders. We had significantly more defenders, and yet he was still able to score because Carlos Alberto can't mark? Well, that's my mistake. With an anchor, Carlos Alberto only gets to 95 defensive awareness. Oh, God, that's my fault. And let's all remember, all of this started because Insigne wanted to run in the box with Wout Weghorst running out, and they collided into each other, which allowed him to start our counter attack. Again, it's not the fact that we conceded, it's the way we conceded. By the way, I'm like halfway through, and there's still way worse clips I need to show. So again, we find ourselves being counter-attacked. What's new? We make a good tackle here. Now, 2 tackle tacks, right? We make a tackle, doesn't matter, goes out of bounds, right? Still his ball, fair enough. That's not, oh, it's not always gonna be perfect. We make another tackle here. Nope, goes back to him. We do get a tackle, and we get the ball. So as you can see, right, he holds R1, brings someone close, and then he's trying to mark this guy. Fair enough, and then I get a little panicky, and I try to pass to my center back because I thought Cruyff would mark Mateus. So that's good defending from him. That's me being a little bit jumpy as well. So fair enough, there's no issue so far. Like I said, I tried to pass to my center back Saliba here, which is why he is currently selected. All right, that makes sense. Now I can see the ball is going to land in this corner, and clearly Pereira is closest, so I'm going to press L1 in order to switch. That makes sense, right? Here's me pressing the L1 button, so clearly I did press the right button. Oh, great heaven! So why did it switch to Mateus, game? Why did it switch to the literal furthest player away in this situation? So now I'm thinking, okay, why does it switch to Mateus? That makes quite literally no sense whatsoever. I guess I'm going to press L1 so I can switch to Pereira again, but why is the switch indicator over Saliba now? That must be a mistake, right? Like, there's no way the game's going to switch me to someone who's not even involved in the play at the moment. Oh my God, they actually did. They actually switched me to him. So I lose ground with Pereira here. He's able to whip it into a wide open Sane, and thank God he missed it. Like, imagine that. Nothing even bad technically happened, yet I'm still pissed off. What other game does that actually happen in? So let's play Devil's Advocate here, right? It's gonna be a fun time, right? So I'm assuming that what they're gonna say is, well, just right stick switch, right? If you just right stick switch, it'll be fine. Right stick switching is literally just as bad, if not worse, than L1 switching. You're telling me EA could differentiate between going straight down and then straight down slightly to the left when they can't even tell who's closest to the ball? Again, I had to switch 3 times to the player who was already closest throughout that entire time, and yet you're telling me they could differentiate between 1 degree on that right stick. Hell, I have manual switching on, and they still auto switch sometimes. So yeah, I'm not really gonna believe that the right stick would have helped in this situation. All right, this one's a doozy. Get ready for this one. So we have the ball on our goal kick here. There's all my players are forward, so I just go short. Now, in this situation, my opponent's gonna cut off a passing lane to one of my defenders. Makes sense. That's a good idea. It looks like he's holding R1 because Cruyff is bolting directly at me, so it looks like he's gonna be pressing. So I'm gonna send Ruben Diaz on a run. You can do that by aiming at the player and pressing L1. That's just going to send players on a run, actually. So you can see on my controller, I'm pressing L1 to send him forward, and I'm using the left stick, and I'm aiming at Ruben Diaz. Now, there is no one even within the vicinity of Ruben Diaz in this down leftward area, so clearly that's the person I'm going to. It should all work out. So I press L1, I'm aiming at Ruben Diaz, everything should be good, and he literally does not move. What's the point of any input whatsoever? I have to do this quick, right? I have to assume that my inputs are going to work, and yet it just doesn't, and that results in me losing the ball. Let's not even talk about the fact that I shouldn't even have to send him on a run, because I think Ruben Diaz, the defender, should just be able to avoid and run away from an attacker. You know, realism, like people do in real life, right, game? He literally stands just right in front of Cruyff that entire time. What's the point of him doing anything? They can mark whoever they want. So again, I pass to Cruyff, gets intercepted. I try to tackle. Instead, it doesn't really happen. And then Saliba does a nice little 360 move, kicks the ball away without me actually pressing a button. You know, he just decided he doesn't really want it and he just kind of swipes at it. My tackle input finally happens and he lunges at Cruyff after doing that, nearly concedes a penalty. Cruyff is looking to chip here. I block it, doesn't matter, makes a bad decision, and he still gets the ball back. Now my opponent, God bless them, whoever they are, I think they took pity on me because they could have easily had a tap-in goal and decided not to do it. So whoever you are, thank you, because you just saved my controller from flying out the window. So again, 5 bad things that go against me. Let's see how long that actually took. So Lloris is about to kick the ball at the 80th minute mark, and this is 5 seconds in. Let's see how long this takes, shall we? If my opponent didn't take any pity on me, he absolutely would have scored here. And this would have taken 1 minute and 13 seconds in game, which is 10 real life seconds. 5 catastrophically wrong things happened in the span of 10 seconds that went from me being able to advance the ball to him being able to score, but he decided not to because, again, he took pity. Thank God we're in our last clip because I don't think I could handle any more of this. So I use Mateus here to defend. He's obviously a very good defensive-minded midfielder. Now, what he's going to do is cut on the inside here. He's been doing it all game. So instead of just running straight, he's going to cut to the left. I read this because, again, he's been doing it all game. So again, instead of running straight, he cuts left and I'm able to tackle him. And as you can see, Weghorst and Bale are making their runs forward, which is fantastic. But hang on a second. What are you doing, Insigne? Keep in mind, on all of my forwards, I have stay central, stay forward, and get in behind. And I want you to guess what Insigne does here.
You contribute nothing.
Now, if you had said that he wouldn't do any of the 3 goddamn instructions that I put on, you are absolutely correct. So Insigne has 95 positioning, but wait a second. I actually have a hawk on him, which means he has quite literally the best attacking positioning. It could not be any better. Look at that. As soon as I made the tackle, Weghorst and Bale just absolutely take off because they're listening to instructions. Thank you. If Insigne listens to the instructions like I put on, then guess what? Either that defender has to go mark Weghorst, which leaves Insigne open, or he has to mark Insigne, which leaves Weghorst open. Meaning my tactics and instructions are perfect to counter what my opponent is doing, and I did everything correctly. So why am I being punished here? Again, stay central, stay forward, get in behind. He's doing quite literally the exact opposite. He continues to go out wide here. He runs to Mateus to get the ball, and he's obviously not staying forward either, like Weghorst and Bale are doing. So what's the point of having 99 positioning if they don't listen to instructions? What's the point of having any instructions or tactics whatsoever if a 99 positioning player does not listen to them? And I already know what the devil's advocate's gonna say here. Oh, just press L1, so use L1 to send him forward, yada yada yada. First of all, we showed in the last clip that using L1 doesn't necessarily work, does it? Seriously, what other game has it where you actually press a button and literally no input happens? Second of all, if I press L1, he's just gonna run forward. Now, you can do a little bit of an angled run, but guess what? That's just still going to be completely random if he even runs in the first place, or if he follows that angle that I set him on. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but all of these clips happened within one singular game, which, again, I did eventually come back to win in extra time. That shouldn't matter, should it? Because this is absolutely atrocious. It's gotten to the point where I could score a great goal, but I don't even know if it's great because I don't know if the game just absolutely screwed over my opponent. Maybe my opponent had 3 tackles that went all the way back to me, right? Even though I had a great passing play up until that point, I shouldn't have had the ball in the first place. So again, I don't know what's a good goal anymore because I don't know what's happening to my opponent. So I guess not only is losing not your fault, but winning could very well not really mean anything either in this case. And honestly, I don't think it's mattered for the past 4 FIFAs either. If you have any outrageous clips, be sure to send them to me on Twitter. That's going to be down below in the description. But I mean, beyond that, I genuinely can't take this anymore. FIFA 22 is the second worst FIFA, closely followed by FIFA 19. And the fact that I'm saying 22 is even close to 19 in terms of how bad it is, it says a lot because 19 was a hot piece of garbage. But yeah, that's going to do it. Hopefully these other games that are popping up soon are going to take over EA and FIFA. That would be wonderful. And in the meantime, I'm just going to go drink a lot so I never really have to feel anything bad that happens from this game.